Good evening, everyone. So this is Tony. Tony's homeless, but he's also a movie star. And Tony is in the audience with us tonight. I wish I could say that. He didn't make it, unfortunately. But Tony and I have been making a documentary together for the last couple months about his struggles on the streets, his search for housing, and him interviewing experts in the field, not only in San Diego, but LA, Silicon Valley, Seattle, and in Houston, where they've made more progress addressing homelessness than anywhere in the entire country. Go Houston. So, for perspective, San Diego has the fourth largest homeless population of anywhere in the nation. And many of these people have physical and mental disabilities. They just have other problems, financial, job problems, lots of different things can come up. But what they all share is they lack a friend and family support structure to keep them off the streets. So for tonight's talk, I'm going to assume that we're all very practical, that we want to have fewer homeless people on the streets, that we want to solve this problem. But what we're doing currently is really good at managing homelessness, but not at solving it. And what are our tools that we're using now? First, we're using shelters. But unfortunately, they're currently geared mostly at just sheltering people, keeping them off the streets, but not at then getting them into permanent housing. And many homeless people don't like being in shelters. They're unpleasant environments, and it's actually better to live on the streets in a tent than in a shelter. Transitional housing programs. These are programs where you try to fix somebody, fix their problems, and then reintegrate them back into society. Unfortunately, this is not always possible. People have big issues. So we're spending millions and millions of dollars literally every year, 18 million and more, on these solutions that aren't really solutions, these things that really manage homelessness but don't actually move the needle on reducing the number of people we have on the streets. So enter Housing First. Housing First is this idea that if you put a permanent roof over someone's head, a lot of the problems that they have when they're on the streets resolve themselves, and that's because a lot of those problems are related to being on the streets. And it also, those other problems that aren't self-resolved, those get resolved. They're easier to resolve when you have a permanent roof over your head because you're not moving from shelter to shelter or from street to street. And for those people who are in and out of jails, it's actually less expensive to pay for them to have a permanent roof over their head than to pay for their jail and hospital costs. So one part of Housing First is rapid rehousing. And this is a program of up to 2 years where they do rent subsidies, and they give you some services to help you stay housed, another, connect you to traditional social services. And that's really good for people with lower needs. And for people with higher needs, Housing First has what's called permanent supportive housing. This is longer-term rental subsidies, longer-term supports, more intensive, and it's great for people with mental and physical disabilities. So what Housing First and these systems need to really make progress is they need focus. They can't solve poverty. They can't solve the affordable housing crisis, and they can't fix everyone's problems. But what they can do is assure that no one is homeless for more than a short period of time. That said, about the affordable housing crisis, a bond measure, which is a small tax that can go to the construction of new subsidized housing, is a very important thing in this process. But there's a lot we can do now by dedicating the funds that we currently have to refocus them on making our current system more efficient. And that's where the regional plan comes into play. In January, they started this process with a consultant called Focus Strategies from up in Sacramento. And they're a leader in this field. They have done their research nationwide. And our regional plan is going to include those best practices like a housing resource center, like diversion programs, all those things that I would love to talk your ear off about tonight in this talk, but I can't because it's too short. So this regional plan is going to be really good. Read it, love it, learn it. So what can you do to not only help Tony, who's on the street tonight, but to help the thousands of Tonys who are on the streets every night, to really institutionalize these changes to help thousands of people infinitely into the future? Well, you can be an advocate, and your targets are, first, your County Board of Supervisors members. Don't let these people hide. No one knows they're County Board of Supervisors members, but they're very important in this issue. Then the mayors of our 18 cities, it's a regional issue. And then third, your city council representatives. And your message is, first, fully fund and support the regional plan. Number two, no knee-jerk reactions, meaning things that aren't aligned with the regional plan. Not just because somebody calls your mayor and says, hey, I got a bunch of homeless people on my street, have the police clear them off. That's not the right answer. And number three, support an affordable housing bond. And number four, force your city council representatives like Chris Ward here to watch the HBO miniseries, Show Me a Hero, an excellent education in land use decisions. And as Tony Rodriguez, who unfortunately is not here with us tonight because he's at 13th and E, we are America's finest city. Let's act like it. Go to sdhomeless.com for more information. I've got flyers. I'll be over here after the show. Please talk with me more. Thank you very much.